She wanted dinner with friends. I wanted a confession. It was her idea, of course. A small celebration at our favorite restaurant. The one where we used to laugh until they dimmed the lights for closing. She said she had news. Her eyes shimmered a little too brightly when she said it, like she was rehearsing joy. I knew that look. I'd seen it once before, in our wedding photos. She was smiling at me, but her eyes were already somewhere else. That night, I let her plan everything. The guest list, the menu, even the wine I wouldn't drink. I just smiled, played along because I already knew what her news was. And I'd been waiting for this moment. 6 months earlier, she stopped touching me. No reason, no argument. Just cold space in the bed that used to be ours. I tried everything. Patience, humor, even silence. She always had an excuse. Work stress, hormones, not tonight. Then one morning, she started wearing perfume again. Lipstick, too. The same shade she once said made her feel dangerous. I noticed the change before she did. The secret texts, the bathroom locks, the long drives after work. I told myself not to look. But betrayal has a scent. And once you breathe it in, it stays. I started noticing the patterns. The late-night showers, the sudden diet, the way she flinched when I touched her stomach. That's when I knew something wasn't right. So I checked her phone, not the messages. She was smarter than that. But she'd forgotten one thing. The car's Bluetooth. It stored call histories. Same number every few days. Mark? Office. Except Mark didn't work in her office. Mark worked in mine. I didn't confront her. Not then. I'd learned that silence cuts deeper than anger, so I started gathering things. Slowly, methodically, copies of her texts from the cloud. Screenshots of the call logs, her purchase receipts, and when she began talking about wanting a baby, I realized what she was really saying. She wasn't trying to reconnect. She was trying to cover something up. Because by then, I had already found the pregnancy test she hid in her gym bag. Positive. And I hadn't touched her in months. The next day, I met Mark for coffee. He didn't know I knew. We talked about work, about life. He avoided eye contact, stirred his cup too long. The guilty always do. When he left, I followed him, straight to a small apartment on the east side. The same one she'd started renting. For yoga. That was the moment I stopped being a husband. I became an architect of consequence. I called my lawyer. Quietly separated our finances. Shifted assets into a private account. Made sure the house, my parents' house, was legally in my name. Then I visited the clinic myself, under the guise of insurance checks. Asked about paternity test policies. They said, "We can match DNA once there's a sample." I smiled. Perfect. Over the next few weeks, I played my part. Supportive, oblivious. I brought her flowers. Kissed her forehead. Listened when she spoke about trying for a baby. She believed she was fooling me. She didn't realize she was rehearsing for her own downfall. Then came tonight. She sat across from me, glowing in that way only liars glow when they think they've won. Our friends gathered around, laughing, drinking, unaware that this dinner was a stage. And I was about to raise the curtain. She clinked her glass. "I have an announcement," she said. Everyone leaned in. I leaned back. "I'm pregnant." The table erupted in cheers. Congratulations, toasts, laughter. Her eyes searched mine, waiting for the performance. The shocked husband. The teary-eyed joy. Instead, I smiled calmly. "Congratulations, honey," I said. My voice was steady, almost tender. Then I reached into my jacket pocket and placed an envelope on the table. The room went quiet. "This," I said, "is from the clinic you visited 3 weeks ago, the one across town." Her face drained of color. "What are you talking about?" she whispered. I tapped the paper. "The paternity test. You didn't know they kept a copy of your signature on file." Mark's hand froze around his glass. I could feel the pulse of panic ripple through the air. I slid another document across the table. Photos, call logs, receipts, her lipstick on his coffee mug, the ultrasound appointment booked under her maiden name. Silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. I spoke softly. "You said you wanted to start a family." "I just didn't realize you meant with my coworker." Someone gasped. Mark stood up, muttered something, and left. She tried to speak, but her lips trembled. The color was gone from her face completely. I signed the divorce papers yesterday, I continued, calm as ever. Everything you thought we owned together isn't. You'll find your things packed by the door when you get home. Her hand reached across the table, shaking. Please, we can. I cut her off. No, we can't. You made sure of that. I stood up, pulled a few bills from my wallet, and laid them beside her untouched dessert. Dinner's on me. Consider it a farewell gift. Then I walked out. I didn't look back when I heard her crying. Not because I didn't care, but because I'd already cared too much, for too long. That night I drove home with the windows down, letting the cold air clear the last of her from my lungs. The house was quiet, peaceful. For the first time in months, I could breathe without wondering what lie I'd wake up to next. Revenge doesn't always need shouting or blood. Sometimes it's just truth, timed perfectly, delivered calmly, like a scalpel instead of a hammer. And when you finally cut out the rot, you realize how light peace can feel. I didn't destroy her. I just showed her reflection in a brighter light. She was the one who shattered. They say revenge is cold. I disagree. That night it was warm, like freedom finally exhaling.